Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday. How are you, my friend, apart from being discombobulated with the days and dates?
Oh, I'm so discombobulated. And I was just looking in the chat. Somebody said, great graphic. Got to point that out. Thank you, Zana, so much.
Pat was right. Pat's awesome.
But I'm so out of it. I made a graphic for our shit show when it's not the shit show today. It's
we just realized that wasn't intentional, like a few minutes before we went on, but it's all a shit show. So it sort of just feels apropos of everything. But yes, it wasn't entirely intentional.
Oops. What day is it?
I mean, honestly, it's so funny. Having something on Sunday is like, I feel like, when you get a calendar and by accident, it is not a US calendar and it starts on Monday and like my whole world is rocked by that. That's a little bit where I feel right now. I'm seeing the runs too got Novavax. So excited for you. I am getting it tomorrow.
Are you getting it tomorrow?
Know. I am. If they've updated and made it clear the instructions that if it's your first time getting Novavax, you're supposed to get it and then get it again 8 weeks later, the way we had to do for the mRNA at the beginning. That was not updated when we first got it. And so we had to just go to a different place to get our second shot. It was all like weird, but also I don't know if that's all been updated because we have no real public health and we rely on doing our own research with epidemiologists and experts on Twitter.
It's amazing that their whole philosophy is vax only and they're not even promoting the vax. Like there's no public service message to even get the vax. And they should be out there hyping this up, like I've said before. But for all the mRNA haters who are like, oh, it's crazy, alien technology, cutting your DNA, blah, blah, blah. Hey, here you go. This is a regular old vaccine. Let's get the public on board.
It's for this current variant and it has longer and broader efficacy. So like for all the different reasons, this is the way to go. But also, yeah. And okay. So first of all, yay, Adria, nice
awesome
work. Thank you. 6 months. Yeah, I have read that it expires at the end of October, but I think once it's inside of you, it's okay. Also for the first Novavax last year, because some pharmacies were like, I don't want to open it because if nobody else wants it, then we have to eat the cost. And Novavax said that they would take back any unused, unopened, or expired a year ago. Don't know how that's working now. Right. But also, everybody's back at school. Like, Josh just dropped Xander off at college. They were at the CVS yesterday. And then and he asked at the CVS in Minnesota, do you have Novavax? No. A few hours later, I saw, because some wonderful person on Twitter said, now CVS has it. I looked, I told Josh it was too late to grab Xander. Josh got it this morning before he left from Minneapolis, but Xander was already like in orientation stuff. But like, why are we waiting until it was ready in June? They applied for FDA approval. It's so disgusting. So all these kids are back at school, just like, yeah. Anyway, very frustrating. Is that how we started? Was that the good way to start? Am I starting off on a good note?
I don't know. Is there any look? Good news is hard to come by. If there's any good news, maybe we'll starting the show with that. But do you have any good news? What's going on in your life?
No, I was just going to bitch about something else.
Did you cry about the kids being gone?
I'm okay right now. Asher leaves on Saturday, and then I will probably be sad again, but I'll be okay. What I did want to bitch about is, I'm an actress and that's all I've ever wanted to do since I was really little. I just got an audition today for tomorrow, or it's due Friday morning. And ever since COVID started, it's like a two-edged sword. What's really nice is you don't have to drive an hour and a half away, 10 miles, but an hour and a half away in LA, and take up your whole day to like get to an audition, do your audition, drive all the way back.
Virtual auditions?
We're doing them you put them on tape.
Okay. So it's like, for sure.
Yeah. So now you have to put yourself on tape. You have to find somebody to do the reading with you. So a lot of people don't have that. Then you have to edit it. Then you have to upload it. Like now I'm doing the work of somebody else. And this one, it's a 5-minute improvised scene. So I haven't read the script. I have to create a character and basically and they have like a whole range of things that she has to go.
Wow.
And I know the way this works because I've seen it happen before is they get ideas from people and then
They use
they
them,
will full out
right?
tell you that. Yeah. Like I've been
Wow.
on the other side of the table and they'll be like, we're just going to call in a lot of actors. It's going to this named person, but we'll get some ideas on the character.
That's so raw.
It's so gross. So
Well, you and I should do the reading on air for our super Patreons.
that would be really funny. I should do that sometime. I'll give you the sides and we can just do like crazy.
And you see how bad I act. I couldn't film. I remember Tina wanted us to do some stage thing once. Tina Desiree Berg.
Yeah.
She's got a green screen in her house. She's an actress as well. And I'm so terrible at remembering like a 5-second line. I'll blow a 5-second line a million times in a row.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
Unlike Kamala, and I know we're going to get to this as we do the debate, it's crazy because she has one thing that she says the same way every time. Israel has a right to defend itself. We would, but how they do so matters. And she does it the same way every time. It's so clearly like scripted. She hits her line. She hits the same intonation. Ugh. Anyway.
And to not even tweak that a teeny bit for the debate to try to bring in a little bit of this people that are sort of wanting to be on her side on this, like pretend you're a little more pro-Palestinian and to just say the exact same line she said for months, which was the exact same line Biden said. There's no change.
And Trump said, by the way, it was the same thing Trump said, and Obama, and George W. and Clinton. Like it's just all the same. Hope, thank you for reminding us. Yes, please make sure to like and subscribe and smash that notification bell, please. And as always, we want to thank our wonderful members, our pup heroes and sheroes. Look at how we are growing our ranks. We are so grateful to all of you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, very, very, very thankful. Thank you. So cheers to all of you. Pat, do you want to tell me anything about your day before we get started?
I've been working a lot lately, which is good because the last 2 weeks I haven't been working too much. So there's that.
Okay.
So I'm back to being like, oh, you do get sore when you use a shovel for 5 minutes,
Oh, digging ditches.
Digging ditches.
Need to show that Nate Bergese clip again.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I'm happy to have the day off and have a beer. And we watched this debate. I bet about half the people in the audience maybe watched it. I don't know. I'm curious what a lot of people are just so learned helplessness is kicked in so hard that it's like, what are you getting out of the debate that you already don't know? It's just the entertainment value of, was Trump going to blow it? Was Kamala going to blow it? That's the only reason, because there was no real policy talk in this thing. So,
well, yeah, I mean, we're going to get to it, but it was all like, I'm more of a Republican than you are. I have more of a lethal army than you. I have more Republican support than you. I'm going to have a stronger draconian border bill than you. I'm going to, yeah. Okay. So it was awful. Yeah. Should we do a cheers to start? Is that where we're going to start?
Yeah, that's a good place to start. And then we'll kick the show off.
All right. So we're going to start with independent journalist Chuck Modi was outside of the debate in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And thank goodness for these protesters who will not quit.
Let me see that shirt. Let me see that shirt. Do it.
So sorry, you caught me turning my phone off. Cheers to them. Cheers, because none of it seems to matter. It's falling on the most disgusting group of people's deaf ears as they continue this genocide. But
yeah, and seeing the debate, I mean, we're going to get into all that, but the lack of movement by the Democratic Party regarding Palestine in the face of the polls, in the face of all the protests, in the face of the genocide itself, they should know better. And they're not movable on this at this point. So if you can't move them left before the election, you can't move them left after. So we need to do more than just protest, but protesting is the first step.
I mean, honestly, the fact that they won't even lie right now to try to get votes. Like,
I mean, I'm shocked they haven't lied just a smidge to be better on this. It's crazy that they're
not even, it is truly insane. And again, I know we're going to get to it, but like what they will lie about is the rape. All the rapes that happened on October 7th that have been clearly proven did not happen. And then they'll never mention the systematic rape and torture of Palestinians. It's just honestly jaw-dropping the way they will lie in all of our faces, knowing that we all have access to other media, which all they're doing is trying to shut down and shut down the protesters. And by the way, the next part of the protest that Chuck Modi also filmed, which what doesn't fit into Cheers, but is the police attacking them. Peaceful protesters just walking. Look at that with his bike, like what they did to Jill Stein, remember?
Now, my dude's John Farina.
I mean, it's so sick. And I just heard somebody say, film the police. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Somebody that one of the journalists there saying, my name's John Farina, who works with Status Quo, Jordan Sheridan. And he's always at these protests and they're, you know, anyway, cheers to people who put their bodies on the line because that's what's necessary clearly. And all right. Should we start off with something fun? A little wheel action?
Yeah, let's get some wheel action. Let's go.
All right.
Do it.
Let's see it. Here we go. Do it.
Yeah, baby.
All right. We got a nice timeline cleanse, and I'm just going to keep drinking my jug of wine here.
Keep it up. Since we're starting with the debate, let's do another Kamala parody here.
In Texas in 1865, enslaved people were declared free, and it's since become a federal holiday appropriated by white people for the past 3 years.
Wow. All that appropriating makes me hungry. Who wants tacos? I'm just kidding, I'm kidding. But all that appropriating doesn't really seem appropriate.
Okay. You know, because they're in the same month, some are wondering how to celebrate both.
Right.
Sometimes the black community forgets that there are also black people in the LGBTQ plus community.
You know, I forget that all the time. Every day I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, there are gay people who are also black.
That's surprising to hear from you.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I've kissed some girls, but it's not like a game. Anyway, you know what, Everett? It's a shame, okay, that we forget that there are so many people from diverse backgrounds in the LGBT community.
Got that one.
Okay.
Okay, here's some cognitive dissonance, or maybe it's not, but Allison Reese, I think that's who it is who is
Who's
the
interviewing her.
comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. She's so good. And she gets like all the hypocrisy, the pandering, the tokenizing, the vapidity, that whatever. She's voting for Kamala.
Yeah. I mean, that's like Larry David voting for Biden instead of Bernie, you know. That's not quite the same, but you know what I mean.
But yeah,
they don't care. It's just a bit, you know, haha. Just awful person. Gonna vote for her.
All right, let's get into it. You ready?
Yeah, let's go. And by the way, when we start the show with all this bullshit, we need to get viewers in, and it's kind of part of it. So we're stalling a little bit with some entertainment before we get to the news intentionally.
The fun part. It's all the fun.
Sorry.
Starts it right over me talking. There go the good vibes.
Hey, I ended it earlier with the laugh track. It's a lot of graphic for debate special.
Yeah, it's just a fun. It's like it's the official like beginning of the analysis.
Yes.
All right. The one thing we didn't cut was one of my favorite moments, actually, that of hers, which was the very beginning where she walked onto the stage, walked over to him, and shook his hand. Which, by the way, this is how low the bar is. That to me was like this stellar moment of being a mensch, you know, like doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. And I was watching I watched it on actually ABC, who broadcasted, but everybody else had their own coverage.
Right.
But right before they went to the actual straight, we're going to go to the debate, and they were talking about it all in the studio. The guy says, I bet there won't be a handshake. And then, of course, I'm like, no, there's going to be a handshake. Because I knew she was going to go and do that exact moment, like to see what happens, because she can't lose by doing that.
100%.
He looks ungracious, or you know, but she looked like an aggressive, like you know, she went to his side of the stage and toughened her up right off the bat.
Secure in who you are. Listen, anytime you do something that feels kind or showing character, that's always going to be a benefit. It was strange to me the way he walked out, actually. And I know people were talking yesterday. I guess he's what, like 6'4", 6'2", 6'4". I don't know. He's really big, and she's 5'4", which they kept saying was really short, which, I mean, I don't know. I'm 5'4". Is it that? But anyway, they were like, and then there was a whole conversation about who the shortest president was. I didn't realize Ron DeSantis was 5'11", and they were like making fun of him for being short, right? So like, whatever. Anyway, was Trump like not even going to go over and shake her hand? If she hadn't done that, it was just so weird. Like, what a pathetic.
Yeah, no, he would have just gone to his podium for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Anyway, so that was the best moment of the whole debate. We can just
yeah. So we'll get into the debate, but I mean, my thoughts in general on it. We'll talk about the after effects of it, but my general thought on the debate is universally held by I think anybody who watched it. Kamala did a good job on the aesthetic part of it. You know, if you don't break down the answers and you don't look into policies, Trump was god awful, looked insane at a few points, looked awful. Super radical, didn't do anything that would appeal to who he needs to appeal to, which is more women. He's really losing women hard. And for Kamala to come out, hold her ground, be aggressive, have a decent debate. I mean, it's as good as she's ever going to get. But
that's as good as she's ever going to get.
Yeah, but you know, the bar was low for her, and she exceeded that dramatically. The bar was low for him to blow it, and he exceeded that dramatically too, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a fairly good mashup put out by Kamala headquarters, which we have here, of like the expectations versus how it all actually went down, which we can show at the end. But he really was unable to stay on any subject without looking completely unhinged. She also had those moments, but because they were scripted and she memorized her script, because as we all know, she loves to prepare. They kept talking about that. It's so funny. Her whole reputation up until a month ago has been, this woman does not prepare. Her staff gets mad. She refuses to do the homework. And now, like, they were all talking about how well she prepares, but she was prepared for this. And also she did seem gracious. Like, she looked very, I thought, pretty lovely. Like, her smile, even when he said the most heinous things, she didn't do like a Hillary where boners go to die, you know, what Jon Stewart said about her face. Look, it was more like a bemused, like, God, you're sort of pathetic, but okay, like, good job, honey, you know, kind of deal.
But honestly, anybody in that role, with Trump being the way Trump was so massively unprepared for this debate. I mean,
yeah,
the guy had no answers to the most obvious stuff about, you know, you tried to repeal the Affordable Care Act 60 times, you know, like, how are you not ready for stuff like that? Like, these are the most obvious things. And
I mean,
awful.
He was awful. I actually sort of do just want to show this clip first, because all right.
What I can tell you is Donald Trump has been preparing for this his entire life. He always is prepared, and he's ready to take Kamala Harris head on that stage.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan.
President Trump is well prepared for the debate tomorrow night. That is right. He doesn't need traditional debate prep.
You have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say
sarcastically.
That.
You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically.
It's imagine like a boxer trying to prepare for Floyd Mayweather or Muhammad Ali.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Yeah,
Oof.
it was pretty painful and embarrassing. How much do you think any of this affects anybody? Like,
yeah,
because honestly, when you analyze, and that's what we're about to, when you analyze their policy descriptions, they almost are indistinguishable from each other, like, truly. So then it's just the barbs, right? Yeah.
Well, we know two things are the most, I mean, swing states are all that matters, right? We can just funnel it down. There's 6 or 7 states that matter, where it's kind of a toss up, and that's all that's really in play here. So to win over those people in the states, you got a really large Muslim community in 3 of the states. So her policy on Israel, all this aesthetic stuff doesn't really move the needle for those people that care.
Right.
So that could make a difference. And then the other thing is economy. You know, people who are undecided, it's the economy, and it's fracking. So just when you look at the economy post-election, even CNN, let's see, where's the graphic here? Post-election and pre-election, who do you think would handle pre-debate, who do you think would handle the economy better? Before the debate, 37% thought Kamala, 53% Donald Trump. After, Kamala lost 2 points and Trump gained 2 points. So for all the aesthetics of this debate, the issue that is the most important to voters, and then you got fracking.
All right, let's start with her. Do you want to start with her opportunity economy?
Yeah, let's go there.
That's her big proposal. This is her plan.
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion. One of them is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
Okay, so notice that the $25,000, it already sucked, her housing plan, but the $25,000 loan or gift for new home buyers that already was awful. You'd have to go through all the different paperwork. It was basically just going to be a give out to, BlackRock and big construction companies, has now become a tax credit. That's different. It's very different when you're talking about people who are hoping to have a down payment, right?
Yeah, if you don't have the down payment money, a tax credit doesn't give you the down payment money. Because you can't say, hey, my tax credit, can I use my tax credit to get as a deposit?
Yeah.
No, you need to have the $25,000
up front. Yeah.
Which is the whole barrier to people who have good credit, even of buying a house. They can't ever save the down payment money. So this plan does nothing to give you down payment money.
So, like, the crappy plan got even worse in the last month between when she announced it and now when she's talking about it again. And the $6,000 credit again, right? It's a credit for
the
I just want to make sure for the child tax credit.
Yes.
Again, like, and then are you taxed on that afterwards? Well, only if you've made a certain amount. Like, all of these things do so little. You have to go through so many loopholes. You need an accountant who is actually at a certain sort of like sophisticated level, which costs money. Like, there are so many different levels of, and also, like, great small business. Of course, I'm all for small businesses, but doesn't talk about, was there any talk about the PRO Act or unions, labor, the working class, teachers, frontline workers? Like,
absolutely nothing. And even these plans that she's talking about, they're just as silly as Trump's plans. They're not in writing. We don't see the details to these plans. Right. They're not out there. The only thing we know for sure is she's super hard on Israel, hard on Palestine. She's got 200 Republicans endorsing her. I mean, she went on tonight during the debate to brag about all the Republicans, to brag about Goldman Sachs backing her, supporting her, saying that her economic plan is better according to Goldman Sachs. Like, that's not the endorsement you want on the left. Goldman Sachs is voting for the people that are going to make the billionaires rich.
I mean, she said that over and over about all of her right-wing support. That's who she's bragging about. This is even worse, honestly, than Hillary, because Hillary, at least because there was a primary, had to pretend to have some progressive ideas. And like, at least pretended to want the left that she had just tried, to desecrate. There's nothing in here. There's no talk about healthcare for everybody, Medicare for all, totally gone. Shocked about fracking, which I know it was all about outdoing the right wing. That was all she was doing. Was there anything else?
And Trump gave her all night opportunities to use empty rhetoric, because he would say something that was off the rails or offensive, and she could fall back on turn the page from that.
Right.
Without having anything to say, we're turning the page to this. It's just decorum and,
Which is why it just becomes so clear every time that it is all just kayfabe, that it's like he's put there to be even more disgusting than the Cheney W people, even though if you look at the actual body count, they still win as more disgusting. Like George W. Bush absolutely was the worst president of my lifetime, and Reagan and Biden. But so he gets to do that. So then she's just like, what are you talking about? I wanted to do your draconian border bill. You wouldn't let me. I want to frack more. No, I know I said that 4 years ago, but that's just because it was a debate and a primary.
It was a
right?
debate.
Yeah, and that, yeah,
do
exactly.
not come. Do not come.
I mean, so when the left, when the opposition party keeps going after right-wing voters and moving further right, it allows the Republicans to keep moving further right and saying it out loud and being completely open and honest about it.
Look, even if Kamala wins this thing, this debate, Republicans and the donors to Republicans won, because U.S. policy from now on is between those two stances of super far right, or I tried to be super far right, but there's no left talk on any of it.
They've completely eradicated it. Biden came in and we shut down Me Too. Thanks, Anita Dunn. We shut down Black Lives Matter, defund the police, and any talk about the Green New Deal, Medicare for all, like everything just died. We're not even, that's not, and the country, every time they're polled, still wants all of those things. Or, I mean, I don't know the polling on Me Too, but, you know, as somebody just pointed out, and yes, we're going to get to the fracking bit, but like, there are plenty of polls showing that why can't I find anything? Because we have, okay, here. This is from Dave Roberts, who, by the way, you know, is a good lib. Like, I think he's all for Kamala, but he still points out 51% of energy jobs in Pennsylvania are clean energy. Clean energy employs 8 times as many Pennsylvania workers as gas, and 78% of Pennsylvania residents want more clean energy. So once again, the only people you're appealing to with the fracking are your donor investors.
It's a false argument that the people like that she has to be pro fracking to win Pennsylvania. When you're looking right there, over half, a majority, a slim majority, but they support clean energy and not, you know, the jobs are in clean energy, not
but
fracking.
Wait, it's 78%.
Yeah, the jobs themselves, over half the jobs are clean energy versus fracking.
Right, but 78% want more clean energy. So like you could run on that, even if it were just like that's what you should do if you have any brain, moral sense, like care for the environment and your people and your children and grandchildren and everybody else's. But like, even if it's just pure political.
But what you do is you put out an actual detailed plan of pivoting the jobs from the fracking jobs to clean energy.
Right.
I guarantee everyone who is a fracking person now will have a job in the new clean energy environment. I wrote it in my policy plans. Here it is. Let's lift everybody up.
Exactly. Which, you know, because remember they would try and get Bernie on that, like, if Medicare for all actually happened, I think this was a Pete Buttigieg thing. What would we do to all those health insurance jobs? You know, it's like
and my favorite was the insurance call centers jobs are mostly African Americans working there. So if you give people health care, you're hurting them the most because they're the ones going to lose. They're the insurance adjuster jobs.
Yeah.
In call centers.
But he had a plan. He had a plan for that. But like where those people would be reincorporated, there still is going to be plenty of work to do. And it is just so bald-faced pandering to her donors. All right.
Yeah,
was that the economy stuff? Oh yeah. Right.
There you
There was
go.
another, yeah.
They want it to end, and she's out here saying she has to frack. And basically the subtext is that she has to support it to win the election because Pennsylvania is so valuable. No, she's supporting it out of pure donor motivation.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they did the same thing. I mean, I know we all know this, but you know, like with West Virginia and Manchin and Kentucky and McConnell, right? Like we have to run that McGrath lady who like reached out to Trump people and wanted some Trump judges, or, you know, she was going to be a Trump Democrat because it's such a right-wing place, right? Because what they really wanted was that, oh God, what's his name? He seemed pretty good. Booker, is that his name? Not Cory Booker. No, the other, it was, he was more like a left guy, a kind of, you know, possible squad member. I mean, that's all disappeared also, but they ran that like ex-military lady instead. And of course she lost, because the truth is, if you're right wing, if you like Mitch McConnell, you're not voting for somebody who's basically like him, but a Democrat. You're voting for the real thing. You're not going to do Republican light. So what
Charles
you do
Booker.
is you just,
There we go.
what'd you say? Charles Booker?
Charles Booker. Right.
Thank you. Yeah, whom I liked, you know, but they smushed him, Democrats did, so they could run Amy McGrath, right? And they do the same thing in West Virginia because they really love having Joe Manchin in office and Fetterman in office and all these people who are going to be the rotating.
And so where do, you know, just on the climate change issue, how does the left have a voice anymore within the Democratic Party when the climate change argument, they asked her about fracking too, and she never answered, you know, why she switched her position against fracking, other than
my values haven't changed.
Yeah, her values haven't changed. Well, if you know anything about actual fracking, just how destructive it is to the environment, it basically undoes all the benefits you gain in other areas because it releases all the CO2 that's under the earth, that's sequestered as it is. It goes all into the environment. There's no way we're going to beat climate change if we allow fracking. Period. End of story. So this is why the donors won tonight or yesterday, because
100%. Yeah.
Nobody's fighting for climate change now. It's official. They're fake fighting at best, but they're not even pretending to fake fight at this point.
And it's also so dangerous, and it's why Democrats, you know, are the more effective evil, is because they say the right thing. They say the nice thing. I believe in science. I believe in climate change. We can do both. She's out there saying we can frack and do it responsibly and still and she says it with this, like, I know what I'm talking about. We had Obama talking about, listen, if we don't get to 1.5, if it's 2, if it's 3, let's not let the perfect be the enemy of the good enough. Like, we'll all be dead. What are you talking about? But he says it in this way, like, we got to compromise. We got to compromise with devil. We have to compromise with fascists. We have to compromise with climate change. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but then when the only party allegedly fighting for you abandons it then completely, which is effectively what they did with climate change, with COVID protections, the people that actually believe them think, well, it must not be that important because these good guys will be fighting for it.
100%.
And that's why we have fucking 1,500 people dying a day from COVID.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. All right, let's keep going because, you know, it went from like some substance, not really, but like attempts at policy and substance, like her, and she keeps talking about her opportunity economy. Which is just like,
so what is it?
What is when you
Tell
have
us details.
The access to Medicare for all who want it, access for everybody who wants it. It's like such a McKinsey speak, you know, way of trying to not really be lying, but definitely not be telling the truth.
Well, the housing thing says it all, you know.
Yeah.
Save $25,000 and you'll get it back in taxes. Basically, well, people can't save $25,000 in this economy, so there's no opportunity there. That's not really an opportunity.
Well, there's access to it. Try harder. Pull yourself up. So here's Trump, and here's his
I
response.
was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy, but if she ever got elected, she'd change it, and it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in.
That part kills me. The people are saying it's 15, but I believe it's 21, but I believe it's much higher than that number. Like he's throwing numbers out and adding to them. And I mean, his performance was so fucking
It was
terrible.
such a mess. It was, I mean, he really
Terrible.
needed to run against Joe Biden. You know, he wanted that debate so badly. He should have waited. If he had waited a few more weeks, I don't think they would have been able to maneuver this. Like he got what he wanted. Okay, so he calls her a Marxist, which, you know, many of us wish, but like, again, playing his part, she's a Marxist, but she's some MAGA, like, okay, here's another one of his wonderful zingers.
Create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run.
Okay. He is not wrong about that part
at
all. Like that was the accurate, he should have focused on how little she is putting the details out there.
And
way
pin
more than
Biden's
just this
record
moment.
to her, right?
And then on top of that, he almost said, you know, create all this money for our companies. And he meant to say the economy or something. I don't know.
Right.
It was clear he was going to say, yeah, you guys are out there going to make us all some money for our companies. You know? Like,
yeah. I mean, what he could have said and what he should have said, and which is a real criticism, but he doesn't, he just goes off the cuff. I mean, he's had better debate performances. I don't know why he is doing so poorly right now. I think he was really thrown for a loop that it's not what he wanted anymore. I think he's shocked that she's been doing, they've marketed her really well. Like I thought she was going to, you know, stumble from right out of the gate and just be a total embarrassment. And she's mostly handles herself in a way where they can manufacture an image for her that seems to please at least most Democrats. I do think, I mean, he's had COVID a few times. He is older. He was also shot in the head. I mean, I don't know how that doesn't have some kind of effect. And by the way, like we still have never had a really great investigation of why Secret Service was so derelict in their duty that day. But that's also sort of frightening. Like the people who are there to protect you clearly are incompetent at best. And I don't know, whatever conspiracy at worst, but like there's a lot going on there. He's not sending his best right now.
He's doing terribly, but I really think, look, it's September.
Mm-hmm.
And they call it the October surprise because that's when the bad shit drops that really could wreck your account overnight, wreck your chances at the presidency overnight. And with Kamala, there are so many possible October surprises from just people have been affected by our policies in California. And these people have names, they're known. And you know, the Trump campaign is out there interviewing how they wrecked their lives.
Yeah.
Of course, being Trump, he's probably going to pull somebody who, you know, ate a cat or something. And like, it's going to be like the silly shit, not the real shit. But there's some real people you can get out there and build a case that would turn a lot of progressives off, turn a lot of the left off against Kamala.
Well, I mean, 100%. And, you know, the funny thing is like, it wouldn't even matter that he's just as bad or did just, you know, as many horrible things because his followers and his diehard supporters, they don't really care about that. But it is interesting that he hasn't really gone there. It was all over the place. Like the thing that, I mean, I don't think he's ever looked up her website to see her policies, right? But I think the thing that he was getting at, which is interesting, is even on some emails and on the platform for the DNC, it's all still Biden. It's like, this is what we can do to support Biden. They couldn't change that. And apparently there's some sort of like bureaucracy where they would have had to vote even for those changes, because you can't just like cut and paste, or like, replace all the Bidens with Harris. But
yeah, but she could put out a policy page. I mean,
of course, but he could have even gotten her on like
bullet points.
Yeah, but he's not getting her on anything of substance, which he absolutely could. And she's just floating through. Okay, this this was really kind of crazy. He just like, all right, another zinger.
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's.
I can't get over how he says black. It's so painful.
Black. He puts like an A between the B and the L. Black.
Like it's what vomiting every time you say the word black is not helping get black support.
Crazy. And yet, honestly, still does get more black support than any other Republican in decades. And
which is wild. Yeah.
It's wild, except it's not really, when you look at the actual policies, not that he's good on their policies for any working class, anybody in any part of the working class, but that Democrats are so bad. So like, now that's neutered for both of them. Scrape that away. Now let's talk about what else are they doing for you? Well, not, like, I don't know who's going to make the bigger difference.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see if Kamala, you would expect her to naturally pick up more of the black support, even if she's not black, but but you would expect her to. But on the other hand, a lot of black people have been more educated on her record and know the damage and destruction she did in California. So it's kind of a wash, which is really telling that she's that disliked at her core by the people who followed the issues closest.
Yeah. I mean, she's horrible. And again, like, okay, Trump's disgusting. He, had so many like racist policies for his housing. He built people on their, it was like a slum landlord. He didn't pay people, racist landlord application stuff, awful. But if you're talking about bodies in jail or bodies murdered, you have, Biden with the crime bill. You also have the last 4 years of Biden giving more money to cops and more killings by cops. So like
turning BLM support into the public against BLM.
Yeah. So like Trump sucks. He's awful. He's a racist, disgusting piece of shit. But if you're looking at like not just somebody who smiles and puts like a heart lawn sign in front of the White House. Yeah.
And what Zaynab said in the comments, I mean, it's the economy. So like, if you're a poor black person, obviously you care about racism. Everybody cares about racism, who's black, especially, they're more impacted by it, but you need some food for your kids. You need a job. You need these things are your priorities. You've dealt with racism your whole life. You've dealt with people like Trump your whole life.
Yeah.
Give me some fucking food on my table. Like that's
100%. But also, I mean, again, like I also have to say, like the crime bill and giving more money to cops, like those are concrete policies that really affected huge swaths of people. The Central Park Five, disgusting, and putting out awful tweets, disgusting, denying people housing, disgusting. But like Biden was worse, and was like, if Kamala wants to use her these past 4 years as part of her qualifications, does she own those 4 years? Does she distance herself from them? She seems to really love doing that when it's anything negative. I'm not Biden, but also haven't heard her speak out contrary to any of Biden's policies, right? So that was that. Oh, here. Okay, and here is a Kamala zing. You ready?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
Great. Good job. And this is the last zinger that we have. And then they started to get into awful
Yeah,
stuff.
we'll move on.
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
That was my fault. Sorry.
She was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute, I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
Don't lie.
She went out.
Okay.
All right, just so you know, on my end, it said the browser failed to show the video clip, but I guess it looked like everybody was seeing it.
How did you see that?
It just said that I had a black screen during all that, but I think you guys saw it probably.
Oh.
StreamYard. God damn
Wait,
you, StreamYard.
what did I do? Asking.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
It
All
doesn't matter, but
yeah, start the rivalry.
Lila,
I
I'm
am
speaking now.
Okay, it sounds like everybody saw it. I saw it. Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah, so it feels to me like he spends a lot of time on Twitter and just like tried to look for whatever he could say as a zing. She puts out, I'm speaking now. She's a Marxist. It was just so empty, all of his things.
Yeah,
but I think he was hoping for a soundbite.
No, exactly. It's just he went to the meme land thinking, let's create some memes here.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. It's like if Elon Musk ran for president, kind of the same kind of, but Elon would be smarter, actually, unfortunately. But
that's why
it was such a bad debate on every angle if you're supporting Trump. But at the end of the day, is it going to move the needle much? It's going to move it a little bit in Kamala's favor. But I think you'll have to have a second debate after this. I think Trump will need one.
He needs one.
Yes.
And he's not sure yet. She right away said she wanted one, which I think is just like, the winning move. Is like, great, let's do it again. I'm fine. He absolutely needs to do another one. Yeah. Should we spin the wheel before we now get into more of the real stuff?
But the tragedy of this debate tonight is it bought her time to not talk to the public more, to not be interviewed by
because she went to hiding
to challenge her position.
Yeah.
So this bought her time. She could sit back and the numbers are okay. And then CNN's going to go on TV and go, well, can you blame her? She got a bump. Why would she want to talk to people? She's winning, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, spit it. Let's do it.
Depressing.
Yeah, baby.
All right, listen. I'm going to spin again, but on our Sunday shows, we save our stomach a little, but tonight I'll go back to doing shots.
Yeah, baby.
Look at that.
All right. Again, it's cats or cats. I'm going to pick a cat video here.
You working out? Oh, good girl. Hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it.
I'm just really, really easy to see.
Oh. Blue, no. Don't bite me. Why'd you bite me? Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay.
Does that feel like animal abuse to let your cat get that heavy?
I don't know. I cat sit with this friend of the family once, and her cat had diabetes, so I had to give it shots. Like it couldn't help it. It couldn't help it. It was genetically just a big cat. Chonker.
Oh, okay. All right. It was just genetically like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I just kind of feel like some people
Was I picking on cats? Am I
maybe
going to be canceled?
No. I just feel bad that people like you are the ruler of your cat. You can definitely cut back on the food so they can walk a little better. But yeah, I think some people think it's cute, but I also worry about their health. But it was very cute. I didn't mean to make. So you see how this poor Josh, right? And my kids, like, this is how I can make even a fun thing feel negative. That's my energy. That's what I bring.
Talking up here.
That's what I bring to the podcast. All right. Do we get into Israel now?
Yeah, why not? Let's see. This is the good. Well, there's. Yeah, let's go to Israel.
Let's just start with her whole deal. Here we go.
Now to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
How does she still say the lie about the rape? And also just the way she says that line, she says it every time the same. It's just, it drives me crazy. You know, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would.
Yeah. The rape lie to tell that at this point in the game, when it's so heavily debunked.
Yeah.
And look, all of her talking points are straight from the Hasbara. It's straight from the roadmap to defending Israel's atrocities, written ages ago. I mean, how would you react? What would you do if it was us? These are written bullet points on how to defend Israel. Right
100%.
Here.
Yeah.
Over and over. And to not move a smidge off of Biden's position. And the question was, what are you going to do different? Or what, what's.
Because you said this 9 months ago and nothing's changed. I'm actually shocked.
All she did.
Yeah.
All she did was go back to the same talking points we heard 7 months ago.
Yep.
And if there was a time to push back as a moderator, this was it. The question, Miss Harris, was, what are you going to do differently? What's changed?
And also there is no proof of mass rape by Hamas.
Yeah.
Why do you keep repeating that? Because, they did point out there are two different times that they pointed out Trump's lies. And people were so excited about that. But this is a lie worth pointing out, I think, because it was clearly a lie from the beginning. It was used to justify a genocide, which it wouldn't justify a genocide of innocent Palestinians anyway. And also, when is any person, any journalist going to push back about the right to defend itself, whom are they defending themselves from? How do you ever have a ceasefire? How do you have a ceasefire? Not with Hamas? Hamas, they are the leaders. They are the political leaders of Palestine right now, of Gaza. That's it. That's who you're dealing with. So what is the ceasefire that Netanyahu says he doesn't want? And Netanyahu says there is no two-state solution.
First, you got to assassinate
the lead negotiator,
the leader of the peace negotiations in a foreign country, Iran, where here she is saying, especially regarding Iran, we're going to defend them. So they can just kill the peace leader in a foreign country that will defend if it escalates.
And they're the terrorists. Iran's the terrorists.
And they haven't even responded. They have not. They have showed massive restraint to not respond.
Massive restraint. Both, yeah. And nobody pushes back. Nobody cares. Just to go, because there was an American who was just shot in the head by an IDF sniper peacefully protesting. 3 days before that, 6 hostages were killed, one of whom was American. Right away, Joe Biden calls the family. He says that we're not going to rest until Hamas pays for the death. And I'm sorry, because my brain has now forgotten the name of the American hostage. But right away, Joe Biden comes out and talks about it. For the American pro-Palestinian protester who was protesting illegal settlements, right? Who was sniped.
Which even the U.S. at this point still claims to be against.
Yeah,
so this is a protester allegedly in perfect alignment with U.S. policy.
Right, exactly. Whom Israel has already admitted that they killed. Biden comes out with this. So highly likely that Israeli soldiers killed the U.S. citizen in the West Bank, says the IDF. Biden says the death of the U.S. citizen Eisner Ezgi Eg in the West Bank from IDF fire apparently was an accident and a result of a bullet that hit the ground and ricocheted into her brain. Lie. It is so appalling the way the U.S. is dealing with this. I mean, like, every day I'm just dumbfounded by it.
Well, and you don't shoot bullets into the ground anyway around protesters. That's not, like, when I was a kid, I shot a BB gun into the ground because my friends were fighting, and it went and gave the guy lead poisoning in his arm. A BB gun. I mean, I don't know why I'm sharing that, but it's obvious bullets bounce,
Defense is they were defending themselves because people were throwing rocks, which, first of all, there was no sign of that, no sign that this one woman was throwing rocks, but also a bullet is not equal to a rock. And the person who shot her, they said they were 200 meters away. I need to see the arm of that rock thrower. Like, the fuck? Not only that, now, they're attacking the UN polio convoys, ramming their trucks. These are UN aid workers coming in because polio has a resurgence now because of this genocide, to give these children vaccines. And the IDF is attacking the UN convoys. There was just a horrific report that a little child,
the girl that just got vaccinated with polio, just died in the tent. Day. Yeah.
They bomb a safe zone. This was yesterday. They bombed a safe zone with a 2,000-pound bomb this was 20 tents. They're tents. And it created a crater that's 30 feet deep into the ground.
And why would they have to bomb in such a large, even let's say we've got a Hamas little cell here in this tent camp. You don't need to blow up 20 tents. even for that. Like, so, I mean, just their base argument is always, it's just entirely bullshit. You should see through it the moment they speak. But if you take them at their word on anything, you can still say, well, why did you do that? Why would that be like it? Even your story version of the story is a war crime.
Right. Exactly. Collective punishment and way too steep. I mean, when she says way too many civilians have been killed, like, what's her number? Is it
way
5?
too many?
Like, what's the the balance sheet? How does that work for her?
And how does even thinking way too many are killed translate to anything that's going to impact policy? Like, okay, so what are you doing about it? Way too many are killed. So what's your policy on it? Your policy should be, we are going to force.
We're not sending them any more arms or weapons.
Well,
or money.
That should be the policy. But the middle ground baby step to just act a little more left is ensure the U.S. we must be guaranteed our own investigations on any crimes that anything we should be able to investigate ourselves, which that in itself is bullshit because the U.S. will be weak. But like, you can't throw us that. You can't throw the Palestinian people that. You can't throw people that want to vote for you but don't like your policy. You can't throw them that will invest. We're just demanding in our own investigations. We're not allowed to investigate all this stuff that our bombs are potentially doing.
Which, by the way, I mean, that's the Leahy law. Like, it's against our own laws to send weapons to people who are using them in war crimes, which is why we shouldn't be probably sending them to the Azov battalion either. Just while we're on this, I mean, this is just so, it's not small on any level, but it was so, I don't know, it really hit me viscerally. Like, these children are losing their hair and their hair is turning gray because of the shock and trauma of what they're dealing with every day. I saw one little girl, like, I mean, she really is like, it's just falling out. Of course it is. Little kids are, screaming as they see their own parents being beheaded, and parents are picking up body parts of their kids.
Well, and the whole, the entire country is toxic now from a chemical standpoint. Like, the long-term ramifications of this, look, there could be 400, 500,000 people dead already from this. I mean, that's what some of the reports are saying.
Yeah.
But long-term, astronomical beyond that even. I mean, you can't, it's 9/11. Think of what taking 2 towers down did to all the people around that were 9/11 responders. These people are walking in that dust and debris constantly. And the plumbing system,
having to
the sewage system,
wading through sewer water. There's no electricity to clean water.
And their diet, you don't, when you're not eating well, let alone eating cancer fighting things like vegetables and fruits and whatnot, and your body's exposed to all these toxins, that's the formula for end stress, and it's the formula for cancer and all kinds of.
And I mean, that malnutrition, like, even if everything stopped today and magically,
you could have
that
destroyed your organs.
That's a lifetime of issues to have to deal with. The amputations, I mean, and now they've just decided that the West Bank is also a combat zone. So where are the red lines? Like, all of this was
Rafah was a red line.
About Hamas in Gaza. Now they're over on the West Bank, and that is also a combat zone. That's where the American was killed with these illegal settlers. Yeah.
If you just go back to when this fight started, we were debating that one hospital. Oh no, it couldn't be, one hospital. That was they must have bombed themselves. Well, now they're all gone. 36 hospitals wiped out. Are those all accidents? Are we still pretending here?
They fight about the one thing that was the news for weeks, when it was then revealed that no, of course it was Israel. Then it was just carte blanche, and then they just destroyed all of the rest of the hospitals. Audrey, that's really beautiful. I think I saw you say that she was from Seattle. I know she had just graduated from Washington, I think University of Washington. Sorry, I'm just
Yeah. Should we get to Trump's response?
Yeah.
And he's partially right here, as he sometimes is.
Mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation, and now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself.
This is where the dialogue is. The conversation is he's not tough enough on dictators and terrorists. We need more war. He's saying he blew up the Iran nuclear deal. Biden never got us back into it. But he did lift, I think, some of the sanctions on the money that we had withheld from Iran.
But
like you're not tough enough. And then she talks, then like how he deals with terrorists. And this is the problem. You label everybody a terrorist and you're not allowed to deal with terrorists. By the way, they did this to Obama, right? He said he would sit down and talk to North Korea. Good. By the way, Trump's a moron, but he did. He sat down and talked to Kim Jong-il, better than whatever the saber rattling thing is. Why is that preferable?
Yeah, I'm just thinking of when Trump put the Capitol,
the embassy in Jerusalem.
The embassy in Jerusalem, right? And Democrats were criticizing them then about what a bad move that was for peace in the region because it was, aggravating the situation there. She should be saying that stuff now, but she's trying to be as hardcore Israel supporter as he is. And she can't make that case now because there's no one on the left making any case anymore. Is the point.
Exactly. Nothing. Because also, again, they keep blaming him. They blame him for the wall. Great. Why do you go around 26 environmental laws to continue building his wall? They blame him for the Iran deal. Why didn't we, what has prevented President Biden, these past 3.5, 4 years from re-entering that deal? The embassy. It's not just because Trump did something. You're the fucking leader of the free world. You can change it. You can go back and say, that's not how we're going to do things. We're hoping to carve out some peace in the Middle East. They keep blaming him for everything wrong. They're in power right now. All right. This is because this whole thing with the terrorists drives me crazy. This is just 40 seconds, but I just want to.
He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this. And The president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them.
Who do you negotiate with? You don't have to negotiate with your peace partners, with your friends. You negotiate with the people you're opposing. How do wars end? I mean, just think of what happened after World War II. The people who actually saved us from Nazis or saved more Jews and, Europe from Hitler was probably really Russia, way more than the rest of the Allies. Right away, we invite fucking Nazis, war criminals, into the US and start up our Cold War with Russia. So we're able to look past prior issues. We're great friends with Japan now. Like, how does peace ever happen? And this is why labeling so they label Hamas terrorists, they label Iran, the Ansar Allah, the Houthis, Hezbollah, everybody's a terrorist. Israel's the one committing the genocide right now. And they're our good friends. I would love a list of everybody who's ever been invited to Camp David. I don't know, was Kissinger ever there? Was Madeleine Albright? Did Hillary hang out there? Did pedophile rapist Bill Clinton go to Camp David ever? Did George W. Bush, who started a war on a total lie and killed 1 million Iraqis, like I don't know, are they terrorists? The fact that she brings that up, like, we can't negotiate with terrorists. Who do you negotiate with?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, it's just it's infuriating because you have to negotiate with the enemy and the bad people. If there are bad people, that's how you get a deal done. That's how I don't deal done. Now I sound like Trump, but it's just common sense. It's like, that's how it works. Meanwhile, Israel's killing the head of negotiations. But there's another zinger. I mean, I'll show it.
It's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people.
Did we show that already?
Yeah, we showed that already. I think that's pretty much it on the terrorist
from
stuff.
the debate. Yeah.
From that debate. Yeah. So I think probably it's worth just showing what's happening amongst people who actually care about what's happening in Israel and Gaza and the West Bank right now. Like, where are the abandoned Biden has now turned into abandoned Harris, and they seem resolute, which I'm so thrilled for, because too many, I think, high profile people on the titular left really think that they're going to get somewhere with Kamala. And even there's this other line I've seen, like Sam Sater and I don't know, other, former Bernie people, like, even if she's 1% better.
Yeah. Painful. So let's show the video then. Right.
One of the tragedies of a human being is that oftentimes we do not consider the consequences of our words and our actions 10 steps down the line, 20 steps down the line. We don't consider the consequences unless they are directly in front of our face, and even then people are sometimes unable to do that. But there is a ripple effect that takes place. And when people ask us, aren't you afraid of what a Trump presidency will bring? Yeah, of course I'm worried. Of course I'm afraid. You'd have to be stupid not to be afraid. But why is no one considering the ramifications, the disastrous ramifications of what would happen if a party and particularly a politician who is number 2 to Biden, who, as John Kirby said, has been a full partner in the administration's policy with regard to Gaza, meaning they've been a full partner in this genocide. Is anyone not considering the ramifications of what happens if they are allowed to carry out this genocide, funding it, backing it, supporting it, being mouthpieces for it, and still win an election because the other side is supposedly worse? Is no one afraid of those ramifications? Do you understand what happens if they are allowed to just slice people to pieces over there and still win? They're allowed to support the live streaming of a genocide over there and still win. Has no one thought about those ramifications? Have we even begun to consider how disastrous they would be? I genuinely believe if people took the time to understand those ramifications, we would be having a completely different conversation right now.
So sorry, we didn't set that. We didn't set that up very well. That is from Saturdays with Renee, and that's her. That was her up in the top right. That was just an avatar. Is your life better? Is basically her at. There was a really good conversation. Yes, I do think that he's one of the heads of Abandon Harris, and I think that point is so vital for everybody to understand. I mean, I think everybody here does, but like, I think too many liberals really don't. Like, they'll say this thing that, well, Trump would be worse. Like, I don't even really know what they mean by that. I mean, they say it because they just don't like his tweets. Because I don't know what would be worse than this.
But if you accept that this is a genocide happening there right now, you have to accept who's behind it, who has led this charge. And you have to say, you don't look at the other guy and say, well, he's going to be just as bad at it. You have an actual candidate on the ballot. Now, granted, I know it's unrealistic the Greens could win this, but how are you going to live with yourself supporting basically Hitler, which is what we're doing?
99% Hitler.
And 99% Hitler, you still cast your vote for that person. And the ramifications long-term really do matter, because if they can get away with this and they can hide behind gay rights, trans rights, and not little things for those people, but like, you can't hide. We need somebody out here who has the right stance on on genocide. Like this, what's bigger than genocide?
Because, so first of all, as so many people have said, we've said, you're absolutely right. This is a harbinger of what's to come. What happens there happens here. It's the cop cities. They have little Gazas. We have the cop cities. We see the same police tactics that the IDF uses, which is where our police forces are being trained. They have trips to train with the IDF, are using those same tactics here. The surveillance, the weapons, that's like a testing ground for all of this. The peaceful protests being squashed and people attacked by cops here and there. But also even like the pink washing, right? Like, well, think about your trans friends. What is Biden doing for them now? Like, there's a way to leverage power for the money that you give to a state if they continue to enact these horrific laws, right? He's using none of that. How about Roe v. Wade, which we lost under him? All that she's saying, and we didn't even clip this because who the fuck cares anymore? Her whole plan of why she's better is, if Congress sends me a bill, I will sign it. That's not enough. What are you talking about? Like, that's your plan? If we get enough Democrats in the House and the Senate, and they prioritize codifying Roe, and they can agree on all the language and all the stuff, and it goes through, and there's no rotating, not rotating ghoul. What's the thing called?
Villain.
The rotating
Villain.
villain. Yeah, whatever.
But,
like, she'll sign it. Thanks, leader of the free world. Really appreciate having you in my court.
I can't believe anybody watched that debate about the abortion issue and came away thinking that Kamala's going to change anything on abortion. And Trump rightfully said, this is unrealistic of you to say this. How are you going to do this? It's going to be a balanced Congress. Congress never going to get you a bill. So you can say whatever you want, but how are you going to do it?
No plan. No plan for that.
Nothing. It can't happen without Congress. I mean, it can. There are steps she can take, but she's telegraphing, I'm not doing anything without Congress bringing me a bill.
Not going to expand the court. I mean, there's no plan, nothing. There's even like, I know we've talked about this before, but like creative ways. What if you publish the ERA? That could even be enough. Or how about using, I mean, and there's been pushback on this for various reasons, which I understand, but I'm just like setting up clinics on federal land. I don't know, something like, can you do anything?
Yeah, but they should be trying those now so that they use the executive powers now. They can get tested. It can be ruled that doesn't work, but you're not trying anything. They're doing literally nothing. They wanted it as an election issue to try to get, the biggest neoliberal wet dream on earth, Kamala Harris, who they picked
in 2017
to be president.
Yeah. I thought this was this is going back to Israel, but this is Talid El-Sabawi. She's great. To all of you who are trying to argue that Trump will be worse for Palestinians, please understand that there has been no U.S. administration in history that has been worse for Palestinians in Gaza than the Biden-Harris administration. None. None are even close. There is no atrocity, no evil, no depravity that Trump could think of doing that hasn't been sponsored by the Biden-Harris administration's unshakable support for Israel's slaughter and torture of civilians in the guise of self-defense. You can argue all you want that he will be bad for America, but please, please don't dare argue he would be worse for Palestinians. I mean, the fact that she's still talking about rape, which again, like it wouldn't even matter if Hamas had raped every single person there. It would have been horrific, but also would not justify what started in, 1948, but also what started on October 8th.
But I also want to just point out how bad the debate was that you're having a 5-minute discussion about a genocide we're sponsoring. Like, that's it. It was just 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, minute response. So 6 minutes on the biggest war we're in, that we're funding, that the whole country doesn't support. Like, ABC, you fucking suck. That was terrible. That's on you guys.
Yeah.
It's the media.
This, and I understand your what the opposite of your pessimism on a third party win. But I also feel like everything, nothing seems possible until it is done. And who knows? Like, of course, it's crazy, but like, I don't know. But I do think these polls are interesting and clearly are freaking the Democratic Party out, because Jill Stein now leads. So this was from the day before the debate. I can't imagine much has changed. Leads Kamala Harris with Muslims in 3 battleground states. So they are neck and neck with American Muslim voters at 29%. And in the swing states, and now I'm putting on those readers. Let's see. Okay. Jill Stein is ahead. This is in Muslim voter preference by battleground state. So Jill Stein is ahead in Arizona, behind in Georgia, and Nevada, which is, they just tried to kick her off the ballot, but now it looks like there's a possible retrial because of all the nefarious lying that the Democratic Party did in Nevada. But okay, in Michigan, Jill Stein has 40% of the Muslim voter support, and Kamala Harris has 12%. By the way, Donald Trump has 18%. And in Wisconsin, Jill Stein has 44% to Kamala Harris's 39%. And, knowing that her numbers right now are lower than Hillary's and Biden's for these swing states. And this is an issue that's not going away. Like, I don't know. Like, even if there were a ceasefire, you know, I feel like they're going to do something like that, right? They're going to, although Netanyahu wants it to be Trump, or I mean, who the hell knows? But like, even if there were a ceasefire today, I'm not voting for a woman who has supported this genocide.
For the press to ignore this, like they didn't bring up how people feel in the country about this
at all.
You know, and it's the number one issue people are out in the streets about. Like it's utterly ridiculous. And I mean, obviously we all agree on this, but for the Green Party to get enough ballot access to win the election, they already have it. They have enough ballot access to win the election, and you can't get in a debate like that. How is that not an instant qualifier to be in the debate? And if Jill Stein was in the debate, she could win the presidency.
I absolutely think so. You know, I felt so bad for her. She was on Piers Morgan or something, and she sounded great. I mean, she was giving great answers, but she was with like Destiny. I don't even, the only way I know who that is because he's like a whatever streamer, YouTube streamer that people talk about. But yeah, but like moron and two other idiots. And there she is, this, you know, brilliant woman who has integrity, who knows how to talk about all these issues. And on the flip side, you know, you get Kamala going on The View. Like, it's just a clown show that nobody wants to talk about actual policy or convictions or any issue that's actually happening right now. It just like I felt so bad that that's where Jill Stein had to be with that posse of morons, but she was amazing. But nobody on mainstream media will have her on.
Yeah, one of the biggest audiences she's been able to get, which is just really embarrassing for somebody who's got enough ballot access to win the presidency.
Yeah, and
despite millions by the Democrats spent to legally tie her up, so she has no money.
Disgusting. Yeah, and you're right. The runs too. Yeah, he right away asked about the stupid Putin picture. Like, what? Why are we still doing this? Yes, she's been investigated. All that. It's all ridiculous. But also, there's a picture of every single major politician with Putin. Right? I mean, we've got fist bumps with, you know, the Saudi Arabian leader and Egyptian leaders and dictators and despots all over the world. Like,
yeah, I mean, I watched the interview and I was almost happy they asked that, to be honest, because so many of the people watching probably have never heard it debunked at all. So at least she got to, you know,
and
I almost feel like
that was good. That's a good point.
I almost feel like he lobbed it up there to give her defense of it, but I could be wrong. He's a dirtbag.
He's such a dirtbag, but it's the way his tone when he asked her, it didn't feel like that, but you might be right. That might just be his disgusting tone every time he opens his mouth. I don't watch him really. So I only watched it because of that. So,
but since we're on the Green Party,
yeah,
maybe we should hear from Vice President elect Butch Ware.
Yeah, let's see it.
The Institute for Social Policy and Understanding conducted polling comparing the Biden results in 2020 with January 2024. And you can look this up. This is a matter of public record. If you put together the states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, states that all have significant African-American populations and significant Muslim populations, the polling indicated that specifically in the Muslim community, Biden got 65% of the vote in 2020. As of January 2024, that was 12%. Next set of questions in the ISPU polling is why? What's the reason? Well, it's the genocide, stupid, right? We've got 200,000 people, 10% of the population of Gaza has been wiped out. That's Lancet, that's from a month ago. Who knows what the number is now, right? And we've got people that are being bombed into flight, not just a trail of tears, a trail of blood and sweat and tears and starvation. Bomb them in one place, tell them it's safe, chase them to another, shoot them when they come for the food, shoot them when they hide in the school, blow up the hospital. The reason why they do not want this pressure is because a ceasefire is coming, and when a ceasefire comes, the Zionist entity collapses because international observers will enter Gaza Strip and will find an Auschwitz every 2 blocks. So that is precisely why they do not want us on that stage. They do not want us on that ballot. They want the American people to think that they do not have a choice. They want to silence us, but we have more than enough ballot access to win the Electoral College.
I mean, it's so great to have their voices out there. And I know Kishore and Jerry White and also Claudia Dela Cruz, they're all like, they're great on it. It's why, like, it's why you need debates. It's why you need primaries. It's why you need dissenting and oppositional views. And
if you had a debate with the Democratic Party, Kishore, Jill Stein, throw some
Claudia
libertarians in there, Claudia.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Put yes.
Okay, what happens in that debate? You hear 4 out of 5 people saying the right thing, and then there's the Democratic Party, and you're like, how are you representing?
Yeah, she's saying what Trump's saying.
You look like the Republican in the room, and you are the Republican in the room.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If it were an actual presidential debate right now with the people who have ballot access, okay. So at this point, it really, I think, to reach 270, and I think Jill Stein has the possibility of being beyond 500. I think it's like 520, right? So she has the access. So even if that's all you're going by, but of course they would change it, right? Just the way the DNC did when you had to like reach a certain level of support, but they'd still let Mike Bloomberg on the stage, but not Tulsi Gabbard. It's like all that kind of stuff.
But the insane hurdles you have to jump through to get that ballot access and to still be excluded from the debates is just morally, it's just, I don't even have words anymore. It's just gross.
I know, it is really gross. Okay, let's any more debate stuff? Oh, whatever. I mean, I don't know. Do you want to do any more from the debate? I mean,
I think we got to show the dogs eating dogs and cats stuff, because this was crazy. This is why Kamala could still win. Like, this clip alone is why she could still win this thing.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
television. But the people on television saying their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme. This is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him.
I mean, amazing.
I mean, she's bragging about all his endorsements. She bragged earlier in the debate about having all the right-wing corporate Goldman Sachs of the world were backing her economic policies.
And war criminals are backing her whole presidency.
And she's just as tough as Trump on the border. He wouldn't let her be as tough as he wanted to be, as she wanted to be. You name it. The whole thing was a commercial for Republicans.
I mean, listen, right now, first of all, when MSNBC hired Nicole Wallace, who was Bush's speechwriter, when the Lincoln Project became a liberal, like, I mean, to see the libs reposting things from the Lincoln Project, there has been a complete takeover. When Michelle Obama hugged George W. and gave him a cough drop, and Ellen DeGeneres was hanging out with him at a baseball game or whatever the hell, like, they will rehab Trump when the person who's worse comes.
Oh, he'll be a funny joke. All his racism will be a joke.
Yeah.
You know,
He used to be a liberal. He gave money to Kamala. He was pro Roe v. Wade. He played golf with the Clintons up until 2015. He was a repugnant piece of shit for 40 years prior, and they were fine with it. Of course, they set him up to run against her. Anyway. Yeah. It's
okay,
all, yeah, go ahead.
But while we're making him look bad, which he did the entire debate, we can't skip this little gem.
Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison.
The thing, we were talking about this before, that's so ridiculous is one of the many complaints people have about her was she denied care, gender affirming care, to an incarcerated transgender person who I think, I don't want to say something that's fake news, but I think was either severely abused or killed. Don't want to say it without the actual proof,
No,
but like that's not what she wants to do. Believe me, she doesn't want to give healthcare to anybody who can't afford it with their big access.
Yeah.
This I thought was sort of interesting. Are we going to keep doing the debate?
Yeah, go wherever.
Okay. I just think this was kind of interesting.
For president.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a fake Russia investigation
we do have a lot
that went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
I mean, I know the guy was a registered Republican who shot him. Something weird went on there. Whatever that was, I do think that his rhetoric is dangerous. Absolutely dangerous. He has people targeting immigrants, lying about them. The person who started the dog and cat eating Haitian immigrant lie apparently was like a leader of the Nazi party in Springfield. So like, these are horrific people. He's a horror show. He thrives on pitting people against each other and ginning up, xenophobia and racism and all of that. 100%. But the Democrats have spent the last 8-9 years lying about him, saying that he's Putin's puppet, that he stole the election, that he is treasonous, that he is worse than Hitler, actually. Like,
but not only that, they put that same threat on Bernie. They put the same thing on Bernie. So it's like anyone going after their power,
gets that treatment.
It's the same tactic. It's the Russia, it's the disinformation, and then this always comes back to cop cities. Well, who's the threat to democracy? The people funding
climate
cop
protesters.
cities. But really, if you're going to build up these cop cities to shut down protesters, and you're going to take all this money from AIPAC and shut down dissent about the genocide. Like, that's a threat to democracy, that you're not letting college kids take courses that even discuss this in a reasonable way.
Yeah.
That's really a threat to democracy.
Or democratically elected delegates, Palestinian Americans, Muslim Americans, who should have had a speaking spot at the Democratic convention, right? Like, the Democrats are such a horrific threat to democracy that basically we've lost 3 years of or 3 separate election cycles of primaries. We just had this crazy coup, I mean, sorry, but sort of, against Biden, and then installed Kamala. Like, they are doing everything in their power to sue Jill Stein. And not only Jill Stein, but even, like they did it to Matthew Ho, to sue the Green Party off of ballots in different states. Like, he's not wrong. He's horrible also, but he's not wrong. And instead of David Muir, like, then that was a bridge too far. And I think that's why, like, the fact checking doesn't work for me, because if they only are going to fact check him, and he's horrible and he lies, but like not fact checked her, then by default it feels like, oh, well, the rapes did happen and Hamas is a terror organization. And like,
yeah, I saw the fact check outlet, after the debate, they said Trump lied 33 times and Kamala lied once. But what wasn't part of that one? It wasn't the rape.
What did they say she lied about?
I don't even know. But whatever. I'm sure it was something about economic policy or something.
Putting her greens in the bathtub.
Yeah, that was a lie. We probably was a lie.
Yeah. Well, at least.
So let's do this.
Sorry.
It's all so awful, but I'm seeing just droves of people saying correctly. No, I'm kidding. Because now I'm also don't worry, Pat, you too.
I'm going to put that on a ticker so it just plays in the bottom the whole time. I think we should spin the wheel and do something.
Okay, I think you're right. Yeah. Oh,
something
look
like
at
that.
you putting it on. Okay, I'm going to spin it. Because then we still got COVID.
Yeah, baby.
There we go. Look at that. Timeline cleanse, baby. We need it. I think I need another glass of wine while.
Should I do a long one?
I don't know. What do we have?
We got Alex Jones, a song. Let's just do that.
Okay. Oh, God.
Sorry in advance.
The paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. Little bunch of Christian money scum now on giant death factories keeping babies alive. Selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we want to eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy, weird, sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy, weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. Literal vampire pop and the goblins are hobbling round coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap. We don't even notice and it's half rising up against us. Millions of pointed people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna steal your daughter at the mall. We're gonna steal your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
That's the most Alex Jones I've ever had to suffer through. That's hilarious.
Painful. But yeah. And that's the guy that Jimmy Dore is not cool with. So those are the people on the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Leaving the whole debate, or do you want to just do the post-debate polls really quickly? And of course, the big endorsement. There was a big endorsement.
How did this all end up? Let's see. Post-debate.
Big endorsement.
We already showed this one. Trump picked up 2 points in the economy from that
that's
debate.
So crazy.
But overall, I mean, it's pretty clear that Kamala won it.
Right.
But does winning it mean you're going to vote for her is the question.
Right.
So far, the polling, the money, which is what is more probably important than the polls, because the money people are usually pretty accurate. They're leaning Kamala right now. But like I said, we have months to go. And this race is still a coin flip. Forbes put an article about it.
Right.
If you want to read some, go for it.
Well, I don't know. What's the, did you just want to say that Forbes put out
It's
an
just
article?
basically there's a shift to Harris. Crypto too. Crypto people are like, oh, and when you see crypto people, when crypto starts slipping, it's because Trump is pro crypto. So
but now she's pro crypto.
She's suddenly pro crypto.
She is pro crypto. The left, the oppositional party. All right, and then we got this big endorsement from my computer's really lagging, but anyway, from Taylor Swift. Great mind, great political mind, and brave speaker outer of truths. Haven't seen her tweet anything about a genocide, but anyway, she just got almost 10 million likes for endorsing Kamala.
Yeah, and in lieu of reading that, we can
I'm
watch.
Not putting my readers on for her.
Megyn Kelly lost her shit on, I guess, her own network, or she's not on Fox anymore. She's got her own thing, I think, right?
She's got her.
Here's
own,
her
stream
revealing to her audience for the first time that the coveted Taylor Swift endorsement didn't go her way.
Taylor Swift just endorsed Kamala Harris. Taylor Swift, she posts a picture of herself with her cat. Would you look at this? You can, of course. I'm like, you can kiss your sales to the Republican audience goodbye, Taylor. Hope you enjoyed them while you had them. And this is what she posts. Like many of you, I watched the debate tonight. If you haven't already, now's a great time to do your research on the issues at hand and the stances these candidates take on the topics that matter to you most. As a voter, I make sure to watch and read everything I can about the proposed policies, etc. Recently, I was made aware that an AI of me falsely endorsing Donald Trump's presidential run was posted to its site, blah, blah, blah. And the simplest way to combat misinformation is with the truth. I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I am voting for Kamala because she fights for the rights and causes I believe need a warrior to champion them. I think she's a steady-handed, gifted leader. And I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we are led by calm and not chaos. I was so heartened and impressed by her selection of her running mate, Tim Walz, who has been standing up for LGBTQ rights, IVF, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. Oh, my God. So this woman is fine with his plan to take custody of the children from parents who don't want them to chop off their body parts and put them in Minnesota court's custody so the body parts can be chopped off and they can be sterilized outside the custody of their parents. That's what led Taylor Swift to endorse him. Can I tell you something? I criticized her about 6 months ago when she came out strongly in favor of, she went to a fundraiser to raise money for Hamas, supposedly Palestinians, but the group that was doing the fundraising was known to funnel the money to Hamas. And I said, people should boycott her. It was an offhanded comment. People went nuts. Some lunatic dropped a note in my personal mailbox outside my house begging me not to boycott Taylor Swift, as though I have that power. I'm allowed to criticize Taylor Swift, and I don't give a shit who gets upset. This is disgusting. If she wants to vote Harris Walz, she can do it all she wants. But to say the reason she's doing it is because of Tim Walz's stance on LGBTQ, F you, Taylor Swift, and F all of the people who want to see these children have body parts chopped off and watch them sterilized under the age of consent, and then will ride off to their multi-gazillion-dollar mansions, never to think of them again. Emily, this is unbelievable. The left is losing its mind. She signed it Taylor Swift, childless cat lady.
But this is why
Pat, I bet you're killing me. You made me watch Alex Jones and Megyn Kelly today. What the hell?
you didn't even see it coming. I didn't even say that I pulled those clips because I don't want to get all,
I know, but now
jiggity like last week.
I know I got to put it on you though, because
Now you have to start previewing my clips.
Stabbing my eyeballs.
But that clip really shows you like where all of Trump's they're in this ecosystem of this crazy shit. And like you don't have to beat them by being them when they're this fucking crazy. You just have to put out some rational stuff that's actual leftist policy. But instead, because the donors want the policy that's on the right, the Democrats pretend the only way to beat these guys is to adopt their policies.
And they will talk about, and again, like obviously I know that trans rights are human rights and abortion rights are human rights, right? Like I get that. Those are the only two things that Democrats will talk about, because everything else will hurt their bottom line. Everything else, whether it's war, healthcare, economic stuff, they are 100% in line with Republicans. But this is the one issue, the two issues.
Look, gay and trans rights and abortion don't affect the donors' bottom lines for their money, for the wars. That's the stuff that they care about. They're like, you guys divide yourself on these little social things that don't affect us.
And make it seem like you're really far apart on, it's really gross. They never, ever talk about economic issues, material issues at all.
Yeah, probably.
I know. Thank you. I don't want any more of this crap. No, I'm kidding.
My bad.
Normally we don't say like, I pulled this and I pulled this, but we both were just like running around today. So we did a lot of texting, but kind of came into the studio late. So you might not know why I did pull this, but I thought it was interesting in terms of class war is that it was just announced that Kendrick Lamar is going to play the Super Bowl. And here is this person, they not like us, and has a lot of, there was this whole ridiculous thing between him and Drake. I couldn't really care less about, although Xander was heavily involved in it and wanted me to know all the different diss tracks and who did what with whom. And I don't care about any of it. But when you are somebody pretending or who is making millions of dollars off of your stance on social justice issues, and then you lend your voice and your sanctioning of this disgusting racist billionaire NFL corporate or whatever conglomeration, I was pleasantly surprised that Rolling Stone kind of called him out on it. So within 3 months, Lamar chided Drake for running to Atlanta when you need a check balance, and then partnered with a corporation that ran to Black music when they needed to distract the country from their racial biases. Rap fans are now left to consider what's worse between Drake co-opting music scenes for his pockets or Lamar playing into the PR apparatus for a country and corporation that subsists on racial inequality and exploits countries for resources all over the world. Kaepernick never proclaimed himself a savior, but he kneeled during the anthem for a cause. Several of the Black artists who've won favor by feigning pro-Blackness, including Lamar, continue to help the NFL throw dirt on his fight, despite when anyone says we're not past kneeling because the issues Kaepernick was calling attention to still exist. So Lamar may have the viral performance of a lifetime in January, but the access to the Super Bowl stage comes with a price. I mean, I think it's interesting that that Rolling Stone is calling him out on that. That felt unusual and noteworthy to me. What do you think? Nothing. I mean, you know who else, and I don't know if Andrew Perez has anything to do with this, but Andrew Perez, who was a journalist working with David Sorotas the Lever, who came on our show, Andrew Perez, shout out to you. You're awesome. Is now the political editor for Rolling Stone. And I just think it's really important to call out that, and I saw, I think Zainab said in the comments, these celebrity endorsements don't really matter. And I think you're right. Like, even though I was always so excited in 2020, 2016 and 2020 when I heard of another cool, celebrity, cool because Bernie.
Well, I think
so
it's
excited.
different. It was different in the Bernie era a little bit because you were trying to make him accepted by mainstream.
Right.
And so that's a different attachment than just like, who's a Pepsi fan, who's a Coke fan, like, which is kind of what the rest of it feels like.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And we know that, Hillary had Beyonce, had, she had every celebrity and $1 billion campaign, and that didn't help her. So, I don't think it matters. And I think you're right. And thank you for explaining what it was that made me happy was everybody was acting like Bernie was this awful person that nobody liked. Even though he won the biggest, most diverse state in the country, they act like, no, the North Carolina.
Well, he was really popular, and when celebrities endorsed him, it showed that he was actually really popular.
Right, exactly.
Okay to support him. Where, look, Taylor Swift. Could it move the needle a little bit in these 6 states? Maybe, but. If you care about Palestine, it's not going to move the needle. I don't think.
Yeah, I think, I think the thing about the youth vote, it's twofold. One is, if they always say, oh, they don't show up. They showed up at their highest level in 2020, actually. But also, they are the activists. They are the ones who get people to the polls, right? So, like, I remember people, because I didn't vote for Biden in 2020, and a lot of people really upset with me. I was like, I spent 20 hours a week like volunteering for Bernie, but also voter engagement, like going out canvassing, I texted, I don't know what, 200,000 different people, right? Like, so my one vote probably doesn't matter, but it's the effort of trying to get people enthusiastic about voting. I don't think that the people who might show up to the polls because Taylor told them to are the same people who are the activists who are going to be shuttling voters.
Well, look, if she came out and said, I want 100,000 Swifties to be working tables for Kamala, or something, calling for an action and she still might do something like that. But
yeah,
the endorsement on its own, it has an impact. I hate to say it. And that says a lot about our society that it does, because it shouldn't.
It really shouldn't, which again is why I just wanted to give some props to Rolling Stone for calling that out, because I think too often they're like, oh, look at this. Selena Gomez just became a billionaire. Beyonce is a billionaire.
Yeah.
Whoever the hell, Rihanna, and these are people I like some of their music a lot, but they're no good billionaires. You do not earn $1 billion. Nobody does. And it just really shows that whatever their lyrics might be, whatever personality or profile they're putting out there, they're not actually, they have class loyalty, and it's not with us. All right. Amen. Should we save COVID for Sunday?
Yes, let's save the COVID.
All right. Is there anything else we need to talk about on what we just did? I'm sorry. I just sidetracked us with something that you didn't even think we were going to be doing.
Oh, that's okay. In lieu of that, I'm going to make you watch this video from Newsmax.
Jesus, Newsmax.
Just kidding. It's not on class. It makes no sense. I think I'm actually going to cut this off short.
I have the X-rated version of that.
I can't watch that. Yeah, there is. I've seen. Let's not talk about that. We have kids watching.
That's for the super member level. All right. Yeah. I don't know what's worse. Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna. All right. That's it for tonight, right?
Yep.
That's it for tonight.
let's set up the clip. I'm always pushing the button without letting you set it up. So I'll hand it over to you, Lila.
Okay. Thanks, Pat. Thanks for that. It's more protest stuff, but solidarity with people who are actually taking actions that can affect the bottom line. Because in the end, yes, the protests are, of course, important, or they wouldn't be building all of the cop cities and crushing and attacking dissenters. But the economic demands and the sanctions that brought down, and becoming a pariah state that brought down South Africa's genocidal regime, are what is going to bring down Israel's genocidal. South Africa's apartheid regime is what, sorry, my brain is going to bring down Israel's genocidal regime. So here is a lot of solidarity in New Orleans, making some important demands. Thank you all for tuning in and suffering through the debate and the View. Did we see any of the View?
And
no,
the videos
Megyn Kelly,
that I
Alex Jones, and ping pong.
And the ping pong guy, yeah, that was suffering.
It's better than the one I had in mind.
Thank you, Reflect the Sun. You're amazing.
Thank you.
We love you.
Cheers.
Everybody, thank you. Cheers.
Yeah. Thank you all. Keep punching up. We'll see you Sunday. Thanks.